Thanks for listening.
BBC World Service. Welcome to the newsroom from the BBC News. International stories live talking. Muslim brother playing the fool, but it was President Mandela. Or is Trump women across India having frightened into having unnecessary hysterectomies?
I pray that someone will hear that and learn to be a little kinder.
On air and online. This is the BBC World.
This is Pcj Radio International.
It's 30 now UTC. From Pcj Radio International, this is Focus Asia Pacific. I'm Andy Sennett. Coming up on this edition, Japan's nuclear watchdog blasts the operator of the Monju reactor. Papua New Guinea's government announces plans for a privately funded maximum security prison. And the Fijian airline is transporting shark fin into China. Japan's nuclear watchdog has refused to give the go-ahead to commission an experimental test water reactor due to safety concerns. The Monju reactor on the Fukui prefecture has been closed for almost 2 decades after a leak and a fire in 1995. The head of the Nuclear Regulation Authority has blasted Monju's operator for its lack of a safety culture, saying it deserved severe action. The decision comes as dealing with Japan's stockpile of nuclear waste becomes more urgent. Karen Snowden reports.
It's been 50 years in development, but never in production. 20 years ago, an accident shut it down. Restarted in 2010, it immediately shut down again following another accident. The government-run Monju fast breeder reactor sits on the central west coast just north of Kyoto. It uses plutonium instead of uranium and was meant to help deal with Japan's growing stockpile of waste to produce fuel. The Nuclear Regulatory Authority's 5 commissioners voted unanimously against its application to open. The operators were accused of lacking a fundamental understanding of safety and of failing to correct its many problems. Professor Andrew O'Neill, director of the Griffith University Asia Institute, says it's a bit of a surprise the watchdog was so critical of Monju.
Traditionally, the regulatory authorities in Japan have been pretty pro-nuclear in the sense that a lot of analysts have pointed to a revolving door. Essentially, those who are working for the atomic energy companies essentially going into the regulatory agency as monitoring officials. So a lot of the criticism has been that essentially the industry has the regulatory authority, if not in its pocket, then certainly able to influence the assessments of the regulatory agency.
Is this a sign that things have changed since Fukushima?
I think it is, and I think the NRA, the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, is clearly aware of the shifting political climate and the degree of risk management now, I think, that defines Japan's approach to managing its civil nuclear energy program.
Hajime Matsukubo is the International Relations Director of Tokyo's Citizens Nuclear Information Center. He says the reactor is too old, burdened with a poor record, and should be abandoned.
We had trouble on 1995 about the leakage because they have many troubles. However, they cannot improve. So the regulatory authority could talk about that.
What do you think should happen now about Monju?
We think we have to abandon it.
Japan has 17,000 tons of spent nuclear fuel it needs to reprocess. At a cost of $20 billion and 20 years to construct, the new Wakasho plant will open in a few months' time. was meant to